All right, first of all, I want to thank our fans. That was an awesome environment out there tonight, and what a spring game should be like here at South Carolina and in the SEC. So thanks to them for the turnout. There's a lot of recruits that were there tonight. Obviously, y'all, if you follow me on X, saw some great news before the game, and a lot of that was because of the environment around our stadium that they saw before the game as well. So great environment. Can't wait to see them back out here in August when we kick it off against Old Dominion. Appreciate it was a lot of fun out there, and a reward for our players. We told our players that, have fun and compete tonight, and it's a reward for them because of the hard work they've put in this spring as well. Fireworks show was awesome. Thought the field looked great thanks to the grounds crew. So really, really good night overall. Congrats to, I saw Nicholas Harbor just now in the locker room, but congrats to him. I saw where he set a personal record today and ran the third fastest 100-meter time in the history of South Carolina track and field. So really, really cool for him. He's mad at me. He wanted to play tonight. Came to me yesterday, said he wanted to play, called me last night at home, or I called him to tell him I wasn't going to let him play. He's got a chance to win a championship here at Carolina and run in the Olympics, and I wasn't going to be the dumb football coach that let him go out there and pull a hamstring and cost him a shot at a championship. But super fired up for him, and excited to get him back out there with us once the track season's over as well. And best of luck to our men's tennis team. I see that they're playing for the SEC championship tomorrow, so what a great run they've had in the tournament, and best of luck to those guys. Hope he goes great. It's been a great spring for us. Feel like we've certainly gotten better, and that's what I just told the team in there. We've gotten better as a team since since January, and then since practice one of the spring. There's no question we've made a lot of improvements, got a lot of work to do, but we've gotten better. Exams start next week here at Carolina. Last day of class is Monday, so we've got to finish strong in the classroom, which confident our guys will do. Got a lot of work to do, but love this group. Love the way they work, love the way they compete. You saw that out there tonight. Nicky Manwari, for example, he really hadn't practiced a whole lot the last week or so. He's just been banged up, and I wasn't sure if he was going to play, and I called him Thursday night before the radio show to make sure see if he was playing and what his mindset was, like health-wise, and we weren't going to put him out there before he was ready, and he was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm playing." And we were hoping with a lot of our older guys just to maybe get a quarter out of them and get some young guys in there, and he's in there the whole first half competing and trying to go back in the game in the second half as well. So a lot of guys like that love to compete, love to work, and are what we want this place to be about without a doubt. Injury-wise, luckily, feel like we got out of it, fairly in pretty good shape. TJ Sanders rolled his ankle a little bit on the very first play of the game. Marquis Anderson's back locked up, something he'd been struggling with. He's been beat up, whether it be knee or thigh, or here in the last week or so, his back's been bothering him, and literally the first rep of warm-ups, and his back locked up and wasn't able to go tonight. So we'll get that checked out next week, but don't think either one of those are anything long-term or significant. All of our other injured guys that have been out this spring or did not play tonight will be fine and good to go once we come back. Like I said, we got to finish up exams. Month of May is critical for our guys. We've got a lot of work to do. They're off, but a lot of them will stay around here on their own, and then they're back in June for summer school and full speed ahead. So again, a lot of work to do, but love the progress that we've made, and certainly another plug. I said it the other day in the press conference, but if you enjoyed the fireworks show out there just now, I'd highly encourage you to come to the Beamer Ball next Saturday night, right back here in Williams-Brice Stadium. And if you think that fireworks show was awesome, you ought to see the one at the conclusion of the Beamer Ball. So open to everyone, and great fundraiser for our program and athletic department, and looking forward to being here next Saturday night for that awesome event as well. Questions?
Shane, a couple for you. One, what did you think of Lenoris?
I thought Lenoris was really, really good. He has been good all spring. He won an award that we decided on as coaches at halftime, and thought he just looked very, very poised out there, very efficient. Obviously looked good running the ball. Those defensive guys were yelling at me the entire first half that they thought a lot of those runs would have been sacks, and they were mad that I didn't blow the whistle. But, I thought he did a really good job of just operating the offense, running when it presented itself, but then being able to make throws also, and did a good 9 of 11, and ran for 40 yards on 5 carries. So really good night.
And I believe you guys are using the tablets and the headset now that that's been approved. How did the trial run go?
I think good. We've done the headset in some of the practices just to get used to hearing it. We've been doing that a little kind of off and on all spring. We didn't do it every single practice, David, but we did it some of the practices. But I definitely wanted to do it tonight just because the next time we're in that big a crowd, we'll be doing it for real in August, and just being able to get used to the noise in the background, the band, the fans, all that. Thought we needed to do it tonight. I think it went well, best I can tell. And then the tablets, I don't know. We had a bunch of them down there, and same thing. I told the coaches, just get used to, even if it's nothing to really look at, but just get your guys on the sideline after each series and just kind of go through something so they're used to seeing that also. So that'll be new, obviously, in college football for us, but we want to be able to take advantage of it and not have the first game against Old Dominion be the first time we try all that stuff.
Shane, throughout the spring, and I know from a fan base standpoint, very excited for the trio of running backs you brought in during the transfer portal, but it felt like DJ Braswell certainly gets lost in the mix sometimes. Thought he did some good things. What was your just overall assessment of what he was able to do on his, 5 carries?
Yeah, I thought all those guys did well, Mike. Oscar, I just told him, he had some good runs, some runs early and did some good things, and saw him getting north-south, and really all those guys, Nathan Harris-Wainick and Larry Scott, both guys that are walk-ons, and Chase McCrack and Jawarn Howell, all those guys got in there and got carries. DJ's a guy that can run. He's got home run ability because of his speed, and showed some of that ability tonight. He obviously got in there and played some last year as a true freshman, and certainly with his speed, he brings an element to that running back room without a doubt. But again, with all those guys, DJ's included, it's about so much more than just the ball in your hand. It's the pass protection part of it, and it's the catching the ball aspect of it as well. And he had a good night tonight and has to continue to commit to what we want out of that running back position and continue to develop as a player.
You kind of moving between the 4-2-5 and the 3-3-5 as you said you would. Do you have any kind of overall thoughts on either of those two looks, and I guess on the defense in general tonight?
Not really. I thought the defense has been kind of like they have been all spring, deep and athletic, and we're flexible and multiple and able to do different things. A lot of maybe what you saw tonight front-wise was really just from a personnel standpoint. With the draft, it ended up that some positions were very, 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 very thin, and I didn't want to keep, if you only have 2 defensive tackles on a team, and I think one team had three defensive tackles, and one of those was Tonka. We don't want those guys being out there the entire night, so a lot of that was just from a flexibility standpoint. Let's just try and get 11 guys out there, but make sure we're able to get some rest. So you may have seen some personnel groupings on defense tonight that we don't even have, just because we maybe had a linebacker lining up as a defensive end just to get a body out there to give another guy a rest. So that'll be good for the teams that watch us, that they're preparing for that. But I thought overall the defense has been good, have gotten better, and as I've told you guys, just our depth and our athleticism and size is noticeably different. You watch Monkel Goodwine run around at D-tackle. You watch DeAndre Jules run around at D-tackle to go along with the guys that we were bringing back. And then you add Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart to the defensive end group, and all those guys we're bringing back. Then you got Debo and Bam coming back at linebacker, but then you add Bengali Kamara, and you add Demetrius Knight, and you add Wendell Gregory, and you add Fred Johnson. It's just up front, that front 7 I'm really excited about, just their ability and athleticism.
Brian Thomas seemed like he was in on just about every play tonight. Has he been that dominant for you guys this spring?
Yeah, he's been really good. Really has been. We gave that Most Outstanding Defensive Player award to DQ Smith, and from talking to Coach White and the defensive staff, Brian was someone that was very much in consideration for that too. He's been very consistent. I think Brian's done a great job of understanding where his strengths are, and you look at him, he doesn't look like Dylan Stewart. He doesn't look like Desmond, just from a size standpoint, and that's okay. My dad's in the room. One of the greatest defensive ends he ever had was a guy by the name of Corey Moore, and he was maybe 6 foot, but he understood leverage, and he was hard to block, and he was a relentless player. And Brian, I think, has done a great job of embracing his skill set. Okay, that he's not going to be able to take on offensive tackles and double teams and all that consistently, but understanding how to add pass rush moves, add pass rush moves to his repertoire, and how to disrupt the run game and things like that as well. He's been very consistent and very, very good all spring, and excited what he's done. He's certainly taken a step. He was mad at me. He and Boogie both, or Desmond, they were on me about some sacks that they thought I cheated them out of, particularly in the first quarter, particularly in the first drive. Boogie says I missed 3 on the first drive alone, so I'll have to go back and look at the tape to see if I did miss 3 sacks. If so, I apologize. But I talked to a former head coach in the SEC yesterday, and he said no matter what you do, make sure there's offensive fireworks in the spring game and they score touchdowns. So we're trying to put on a good show tonight.
Coach, as far as the proposal at the beginning of the game, you made it a point to run down there, shake the couple's hand. Why did you think that was so important to add on to their moment, and that Williams-Brice is a site where people want to propose?
I just think it's really cool that someone would do that. I had no idea they were doing it. I was as surprised as anybody, and I didn't want to run out there and steal their moment, so I tried to just stand on the sideline and let them have their moment and say hello to them when they were done. But really all I said was just congratulations and how cool that was. But it's pretty cool. So what's great about, college athletics, whatever you want to call it, that he felt this would be the place to do it, and to be in that environment, but that this place means so much to them that's where he wanted to propose to her as well, which is pretty cool. And just being able to hear stories from people about what South Carolina means to them, and I know what it means to me. I mean, I didn't go to school here, but I know how special this place is and how much I love Columbia, South Carolina, and this university. And pretty cool to see 2 people that feel something similar.
Jumping back over to defense, I wanted to ask a little bit more about Dylan Stewart. He looked really comfortable on that field. I was just curious.
Yeah.
What is it like seeing him get adjusted and acclimated to where he almost seems like he's been playing on this team for like 3 years now?
Yeah, great point. He's I think it was Luke Day a couple weeks ago made the comment to me. He's like, those players that are highly recruited, they're highly recruited for a reason, because they can adjust to college football really quickly. And I would put Dylan Stewart in that group. I would put Josiah Thompson in that group. 2 guys highly recruited, could have gone anywhere in the country, and they chose to come here. Mazeo Bennett, a lot of our guys in that freshman class, but Dylan's been a guy that's really it's never been too big for him. And the moment, practice, whatever it might be, certainly was an adjustment in January when he comes here and he starts classes and he's in a weight program and all that. That was an adjustment. But as far as being out on the field, that's when he's at his best. Man, he's he's a really good player. He's a great young man. He's doing really well in school. And he's been like that all spring. Our scrimmage 2 weeks ago here in the stadium, he was probably the most impressive guy up front that we had on defense. He and Mazeo both had a great day 2 weeks ago, and I thought he finished strong and had fun out there tonight. He doesn't say much at all, but he's just the same guy all the time. But when it's go time, look out, because he can go.
Will you come to my next wedding?
Your next wedding? How many are you planning on? How many have you had, and how many are you planning on having?
Only one so far.
All right. In that circle, hopefully there's not another one then. If you renew your vows, then I'd be glad to, Phil. That would be great.
You could be Elvis. Throughout spring, what did you take away from your offensive line and their ability to create separation and create a running game for you looking ahead?
Yeah, I think they've made progress. We've been banged up front, Phil, just on the offensive line with some injuries. Josiah, he was out for a couple weeks, and it was hard to obviously get him work because he was out. Marquis was banged up. He got hurt in a couple scrimmages ago and missed some practices. So we just haven't had that continuity like we want to have throughout the spring, all 15 practices. But I feel like this past week, we've been able to get kind of a core group of guys in there, and I feel like since last Saturday, we really committed to running the football last Saturday in the scrimmage, did a good job of it, and then we've continued to develop that run game, pass protection, all that this week as well. So it would have been better, I think, to be honest, if we had been able to just completely stay healthy. But we've done a good enough job and thought they did some good things tonight, particularly that Garnet, group on the offensive line. And when we did the draft, we broke up the offensive lines into 2 9-man teams. So the Garnet team had one offensive line of 9 guys, and then the other one the black team had another team. And then one of those teams, I guess Marquis was on the black team, I think, you lose your guy that was going to be your starting guard. You lose him in pregame warmup, so that didn't help the black team offensive line tonight. But overall, like that group. And then one of the best things that will help us is, I think I said it the other day to you guys, but last year we started 2 true freshmen on the offensive line, Tree and Tro, and they didn't even get here until June. And then they're starting SEC games 2 months later. You got Blake Franks, you got Cam Pringle, and you got Josiah Thompson. I just told Cam in the locker room, it'll be so much easier for him when he gets to August. One, he's blocking a pretty good defensive group. And I was at dinner with Cam last night because we have a elite offensive lineman here on campus for an official visit, and Cam was at dinner with us last night, and that's what I was telling Cam, like, we're young on the offensive line, we're old on the defensive line. I mean, you talk about Jules and Kel and Tonka and Boogie and TJ, those guys have been in college football for, some of those guys, 5 years now, and then you got freshmen that should still be in high school today, and they're trying to block those guys, and they've done a good job. They've had their moments, and they'll be so much better for it, and our offensive line will be so much better for it that they've gone through spring practice and faced a defense like that each and every day. Ooh, good save.
I know the answer to this probably, but I'll ask anyway. Are you ready to name a starting quarterback?
I can't believe it took to question 8 or 9. I'm sure David was going to come with that when he asked about Lenoris. No, I know when you see him get an award at halftime, it's easy to say, okay, well, he got the award. Surely he's going to be the starting quarterback. Those are all things that we'll sit down. Obviously, we evaluate all 15 practices, and he did a good job tonight. So to answer your question, no, we start. I'll watch the tape of this. We'll sit down and start player meetings with our guys Monday morning at 7 a.m. With players in my office for the next 3 days, and I'll have those conversations with the staff and those players as far as where their role is, and then go from there.
Hey Shane, can you confirm that she said yes?
She said yes. I think. She seemed pretty happy when I got down there. I said congratulations, and she didn't correct me.
Yeah, there seemed to be, we weren't sure up in the press box.
Yeah.
Your fourth spring here,
Yeah.
how would you compare the momentum that you're able to generate this spring to some of your other springs here? And what do you like best about what this group has done, especially when it comes to being prepared when they come back?
Yeah, I think momentum-wise, I like the energy, and I think we had that in 2021 as well. Did I lose that? I thought we had that in 2021, the energy in the spring game as well. So that's a credit to our fans. We've had energetic spring games and momentum, I think, every spring game that we've had, without a doubt. And tonight was awesome. Also, certainly felt that momentum and that energy also. I had an earpiece in and was mic'd up with the Taylor Zarzer and Matt Stinch from the TV crew all night, and they were commenting on it, just the excitement and the energy in Williams-Brice Stadium, and it's one of the best venues in all of college football, and they're right. And as far as this team, there's a great hunger about them, Rick. There's ever since they came back in January, they've been fantastic. A lot of returning guys that have. We've got 12 players on our team that were here in 2020, and they are adamant about finishing better than what we did last season. And they've been great leaders and have shown a great work ethic and leading the way since they came back in January. And then you inject a bunch of new faces in here, whether it be transfers or all of our freshmen that are here. So that's what I like, is just the closeness of the group. And I've had players on the team tell me just unsolicited in the last few weeks just how close the locker room is and how much better, not that it was bad before, but this is the best and closest team we've had, and everybody's in the same direction and believes in the same thing. And we got a lot of work to do, but I like where we are right now, and I like the direction that we're going as a 2024 team and as a program also, with the way that we're recruiting. And there's a lot of impressive players out there tonight, and a lot of those guys are true freshmen and sophomores.
A little off topic from your current players, we saw, former players including Xavier Legette here. As we inch closer to the NFL draft, what were some of the things you were telling scouts and personnel about Xavier, Spencer, and just overall, what are teams going to be getting in players like that that are former Gamecocks this upcoming draft?
Yeah, excited for all those guys. Saw Jalen Brooks on the sideline tonight, so it was great to see him again. And to carry on, I saw him down there. I didn't see him. I think Marcellus was supposed to be here. But all of our guys, and I've obviously gotten a lot of calls from NFL teams about Spencer, about Xavier, about Sale, about a lot of our guys. And number one, I tell all those guys what great young men they are and competitors and how they've made our program better. And with Spencer, it's the competitor he is. Obviously, the talent speaks for itself, but I know he's really impressed a lot of NFL teams with the way that he dealt with adversity last year here at Carolina and the plays that he's made in his time here for sure. And then with Xavier Legette, same thing, just his work ethic, how football smart he is, how much he loves to compete. I mean, he was in the weight room at 6 a.m. on Thursday. He's in the weight room working with our strength staff, and then Friday I come off the practice field Friday morning and he's in the weight room working out again. So he's a guy that's not satisfied. He's got a great hunger and a great work ethic, and really excited for the draft on Thursday night and Friday and Saturday to see all of our guys hopefully get called all 3 days. Someone on Thursday night, and then certainly guys Friday night, and then throughout the day on Saturday also.